Good day everyone, my name is VIII Amor Defensor Nugudula together with my groupmates from Filipino Major, Ginoong Aryan Ray Roman, Binibining Lorea Mariel Caroa, and for BPE, Mr. J.U. Sambucan, Jason Rubas, Jo Marie Vicente, and Kathleen Raquel. We will be tackling three topics, which is the martial law period, 1972 to 1980, the sacred passion of Saint Joseph, and lastly, what the rich think of the masses by Emmanuel Torres. So without further ado, let's proceed to the martial law period. What is martial law? Martial law is the imposition of direct military control or normal civil function or suspension of civil law by a government, especially in response to an emergency or civil purposes are overwhelmed or in an occupied territory. We take a look back at the martial law declaration and the consequent events that shape Philippine history. Remembering the days of martial law usually refers to a power that in emergency allows the military to take place of the civilian government and exercise jurisdiction over civilian in a particular areas. At 7:17 p.m. on September 23, 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos announced on television that he had placed the entirely Philippines under martial law. This marked the beginning of a 14-year period of one-man rule that would effectively last until Marcos was exiled from the country on February 25, 1986. So Batas Militar, commonly known in its English translation as martial law, as stated in the 1973 Constitution of the Philippine Republic that the Prime is the Commander-in-Chief, may declare martial law under the same conditions. This provision, as written in the Article 7, Section 10, Paragraph 2, placed the entire Republic of the Philippines as defined in Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution of the Republic during the Marcos regime is the root of the Proclamation 1018 that has been executed on September 21, 1972 and remained forced until January 17, 1981. So why was martial law declared? When Marcos signed Proclamation 1081 on September 23, 1972, he cited the communist threat as justification. His diary, meanwhile, said the proclamation of martial law became a necessity following the supposed ambush of then Defense Secretary Juan Ponce Enrile. There were subsequent reports that said the ambush was staged in the official gazette, citing in Enrile's admission in 1986 that it was fake to justify the imposition of martial law. So ang opisyal na dahilan ng pagpapahayag ng batas militar or martial law ay upang mapigil ang lumalalang kaguluhan ng mga mamamayan, ang banta ng pagkuha na mula sa mga komunista, at isang pagtatangka sa buhay na kanyang dating kalihim ng tanggulang pambansa na si Juan Ponce Enrile. So maaari ipatupad ng pamahalaan ng batas militar upang manaig ang kanilang kapangyarihan sa sambayanan at kapag may banta ng malawakang protesta laban sa pamahalaan. And later on, the rest topic, my groupmates will explain the impact of martial law towards the Philippine literature and expand the whole topic.
So, hi everyone, I am Aryan Ray Marshall Raman from BSE Filipino 1, and I will be the reporter for the next slide. So, what happened under martial law and what did the martial law year looks like? Through various general orders, Marcos effectively put the entire power of government under the rule of one man, his own. He was to lead the nation and direct the operation of entire government. He ordered the armed forces to prevent or suppress acts of revolutions. Curfew are enforced group, assemblies were banned, privately owned media facilities shattered. Okay, we can't deny, because when we say martial law, nung panahon talaga ni Marcos, ang agad na pumapasok sa ating mind is about everything is controlled, no? Siyempre, he is the president by the time, lahat ng kilos sa paligid in the whole country ay kung anong utos niya, that should be masusunod, no? Kasi as you can see the medias, no, yung pagpapatupad niya ng mga curfew hours sa nasabing sa bawat lalawigan, sa bawat bansa ay talagang pinapatupad at mahigpit yun na pinapatupad. Wika nga nila no, ayon sa mga matatanda, kung tatanungin natin sila, those person, no, those individuals na hindi nagfa-follow ng instruction ng nasabing curfew hour ay talagang binabaril, because the soldiers and binigyan ng instruction na babarilin talaga kung sino man ang mahuhuling lumalabag sa nasabing curfew hours. It is because they considered already yung taong makikita nila na gumagala tuwing gabi as their enemy, na belong sa mga nasabing revolutions, belong sa nasabing mga grupo na lumalabag o kumakalaban sa gobyerno. Those are the NPAs, o kung ano pa man dyan. So, what did the martial law years look like? Okay, there are those who hailed the discipline and supposed order of the law society, as Marcos called it, and considered the best year of the Philippines. Okay, why kaya sinasabi nating nung panahon ng martial law is the best year of the Philippines? No, it is because that time, if we were going to research it naman sa Google, according sa Google, why is it naging best year? It is because the time na nagkaroon ng martial law, maraming projects ang mga nagawa sa bansang Pilipinas. We have this mga NLEX na tinatawag nila, yung mga NAIA Airport and so on and many more. Maraming napagawa. And also, pagdating naman sa disiplina ay talagang well-disciplined yung citizen, yung mga Filipino citizens. Bakit kaya? It is because they are afraid to violate the law. Once you violate the law, of course, there is the equivalent penalty for your violation. Kasi nga law is a law nung panahon na yun, and lahat ay takot pagdating sa nasabing batas. One instruction ni ex-President Ferdinand Marcos ay talagang nakakatakot. And ang law sa panahon na yun really have this what we call pangil, ngipin, na kung saan talagang kakagat sa sino mang hindi susunod sa nasabing batas. Panahon ng batas militar. By the way, Filipino lamang yung aming next slide. It is because may advantage naman para sa inyo in order for all of you to understand it well, so we prefer na lang to write it in Filipino because the source na aming napili is napagkunan nito ay Filipino. So we don't translate it na into English. So kasabay ng deklarasyon ng batas militar, ang pansamantalang pagpapahinto ng publikasyon ng mga pahayagan, ang sirkulasyon ng mga ito, pambansa man o pampaaralan, pinahinto rin ang pagpapalabas ng mga panauring pantelebisyon at pagtatanghala ng mga pelikula. Pansamantalang natigil ang mga programa sa radyo, batas militar. Ang mga nasabing pelikula, pansamantala naman silang mga naisara. Yung publikasyon, syempre, sino ba naman ang magkakaroon ng mailathala, mga publication kung takot naman. And of course, we can't really deny rin na kahit yon yung mga publication na yun, yung mga program or kung yung mga pagtatanghal, kontrolado din. Of course, the media, the reporter should write yung mga tama ang isusulat at hindi pangungontra kay Marcos, because once you violate it again or sinusubukan mong kalabanin ng panahon yun si Marcos, there is a huge possibility na mapaparusahan ka. Next is pinakamasiglang bahagi ng panitikan ng panahong ito, ang dula na nagkaroon ng pangunahing tagapagtaguyod sa katauhan ng noon ay unang ginang ng bansa na si Imelda Marcos ng batas militar. Imelda Marcos is the first lady of Ferdinand Marcos, or president before nung panahon ng martial law. By that time, until now naman, according nga sa interview sa kanya ni Mel Tiangco, no noon ay talagang mahilig no na tinatangkilik ni Imelda Marcos ang kultura nating mga Pilipino, and she really loves it naman. And that's why as you can see nung panahon nga ng martial law, talagang umunlad yung dula, no, which is sinaguyod talaga siya ni Imelda Marcos. Kung ating mapapansin, nagkaroon nga tayo ng mga theaters na napatayo ni Imelda Marcos. Kasi nga, nais niyang mapaunlad yung ating kulturang Pilipino. And knowing that we Filipinos are very expert when it comes to dramas, no, we are so skillful pagdating dyan. Panitikan hindi ligtas sa batas militar ni Marcos. Marami ang pinagbawal noong panahon ng batas militar, at isa na rito ang pagtuturo ng panitikan. Isinalaysay ni Efren Abueg, propesor noong panahon ng batas militar sa Polytechnic University of the Philippines, ang pagtuturo ng panitikang naglalahad ng mga damdaming kumakalaban sa paniniil at kawalan ng hustisya sa ilalim ng diktadurya. Wika niya, pili lamang ang mga panitikang maisusulat o mababasa noon. May mga radikal na panitikang nagsusulat din, ngunit sinusulat ng mga bayaran ng administrasyon at inilathala sa mga outlet na dagliang inilabas ng pamahalaan. So when we say panitikan or literature, most especially sa pagsusulat ng poem, sanaysay, and etc., yan kasi yung best way, no, labasa ng mga tao ng kanilang mga damdamin, feelings sa pamamagitan ng pagsulat o pagsusulat. Through that, naipapakita nila kung ano yung gusto nilang sabihin sa mga tao. Which is, of course, we can't deny na sa panahon ng martial law, there are some writers na kumakalaban sa gobyerno, which is writing, no, ng mga tula, ng mga sanaysay o kung ano pa man dyan na panitikan, ay nagkakaroon talaga yan siya ng impact sa mga mambabasa. Hindi yun siya ina-allow ng government that time, no? Kasi nga kapag sinasabi natin kumakalaban sa pamahalaan o sa government, wala na silang pinagkaiba doon sa mga grupo ng tao such NPAs o kung ano pang mga rebellions ang nandyan. Yan ay pinapatahimik talaga sila. And pili lamang ang pinapalabas, no, pili lamang ang mga naipapublish, no. That means na manipulated yung mga pangyayari. Limited yung pinipili, yung pinapublish. Parang pinipili lamang yung para sa kagandahan ng nasabing country. Kung maganda yung ginagawa ng isang batas, of course, that should be maisulat. Nang sa gayon ay the people in the surrounding, o sabihin natin sa buong mundo, no, ay makapagsabi na maganda yung dulot ng nasabing martial law, maganda yung Philippines, maganda kung ano pa man ang nagawa. It is because yun lang yung pinapakita sa tao, the advantage of martial law. If you were going to write the disadvantage of martial law, that is not good, no? That just mean that you are violating the law. You are against about the law. So, talagang mapaparusahan ka. There is equivalent penalty for that kung gagawin mo yon. And then, that's it.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution. The 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution gathered millions of Filipinos from all walks of life to march along Epifanio de los Santos Avenue or EDSA, the main artery of Metro Manila, to end the dictatorship of President Ferdinand E. Marcos and begin a new era marked by freedom and democracy. So, the People Power Revolution has inspired a call of change of government through peaceful protest rather than bloodshed. Many similar revolutions have followed since then, taking the Philippine example of nonviolent regime change. The EDSA Revolution Anniversary is a special public holiday in the Philippines since 2002. The holiday has been declared a special non-working holiday. The People Power Revolution brought some advancement to the Philippines. Basic freedoms and rights were recovered, and Filipinos realized that yes, they can remove corrupts and dictators if they act united. However, oligarchies and elites kept the real political and economical power. The Philippines still has enormous differences between the rich and the poor. The political party system is not organized with ideas but with personalities, names, and families. Next is The Sacred Passion of Saint Joseph by Jose F. Lacaba. Who is Saint Joseph? Joseph was a first century Jewish man of Nazareth who, according to the canonical Gospels, was married to Mary and the mother of Jesus and was the legal father of Jesus. It has always been believed that Saint Joseph did some time before our Lord's Passion. The Virgin Father of our Lord breathed forth his last surrounded by Jesus and Mary, and thus become the patron of Holy Death, whereas the Most Holy Virgin was predestined to participate directly and most closely in the Passion of our Lord. To speak then of the Passion of the Saint Joseph is to consider something other than the great carpenter's direct participation in the events of Good Friday. So, si San Jose ay isang manggagawa bilang isang karpentero na namumuhay ng simple. Alam naman natin kung ano ang ginagawa nila. Sila ang gumagawa ng mga tahanan, gusali, muebles at iba pa. So sa panahon nila, San Jose at Maria kapag buntis ang isang babae, bago pa siya ikasal ay isang malaking kahihiyan ang magiging resulta nito at iisipin ng mga tao na makasalanang babae si Maria.
Good morning everyone, I am Lorea Mariel Caroa. The topic that I will going to report is the Sacred Passion of Saint Joseph. The Sacred Teaching of Saint Joseph. The inspiring example of Saint Joseph, patron saint of fathers, workers, and the universal church, of his obedience, humility, selflessness, courage, and the love is shown to Mary and Jesus. Virtues of Saint Joseph: lover of poverty, model of workers, Joseph most faithful, mirror of the patients, Joseph most obedient, and head of Holy Family. So this lover of poverty, based on the research, when we say lover of poverty, Joseph the provider, he was the true to be the man that God wanted him to be when grace touched his soul and his poverty allowed him to renounce anxiety by trusting in God to provide. The second example is model of workers. So this model of workers, Joseph of Nazareth, we find a model for living in the new creation working beside Joseph crafting a better world. Third example, Joseph most faithful. Saint Joseph models this faithfulness for us in his relationship with Jesus and the suffering he endures as Jesus' Father. The fourth example is mirror of patient. This mirror of patient is Saint Joseph is called the mirror of patient because he reflects for us what patient look like. Saint Joseph he's the model of his saintly life. The last example is Joseph most obedient and head of the Holy Family. So this Joseph most obedient and head of Holy Family, all authority is borrowed except for the author himself. He willingly chose to be God's servant, follow and obey His will.
Joseph faithfully served the Holy Family and protected them from danger so that they could fulfill God's missions. Saint Joseph Jesus taught in his humanity how to be a man. No doubt, he taught him how to be a faithful Jew, as well as the trade of carpentry. Saint Joseph's actions speak louder than his words. He is faithful to God, keeps his promises to Mary, and diligently protects Jesus. He is a man of his words and always follows through for the people he loves. Joseph confirms his own unique privilege as a virgin father of Jesus and virgin spouse of Mary.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kathleen Joy Dadag Raquel. The topic that I will give in to report is who is Emmanuel Torres. Emmanuel Torres is a poet, art critic, professor of English and Comparative Literature at the Ateneo de Manila, and curator of its art museum, who was born on April 29, 1932 in Manila. He witnessed the administration on Manuel Rojas, Elpidio Quirino, Ramon Magsaysay, Carlos P. Garcia, and Diosdado Macapagal. But he was defeated by Frederick Marcos, who was the Philippine during the Marcos regime and early before. Emmanuel Torres is the Puerto Rican artist who lives and works in the island. He has been professionally practicing painting for more than 7 years at this location. He was shown his work in Puerto Rico, the United States, Japan, and other places. His works can be found in private and public collections, both in and out of Puerto Rico. Next is Pasyong Mahal ni San Jose. Matay na niyang inisip ang kabundisan ng berhen. Ano pat babaling-baling, walang matutuhang gawin. Ang loob niya't panimdim. Pait, katam at martilyo. Ibubulong ko sa inyo ang masaklap kong sikreto. Hindi ko pa inaano, ay buntis na ang nobya ko. Ang sabi ng anghel, wala akong dapat ikahiya, walang dahilang lumuha. Dapat pangaraw matuwa, pagkat Diyos ang gumahasa. Martilyo, katam at pait. Makukuha bang magalit ng karpentero? Matiis, ang mahina at maliit. Wala raw laban sa langit. Ang tulang ito ay nasa anyong tradisyonal. Ngunit kung iintindihin ng mabuti, ang mensahe ng tula ay moderno. Sa tulang ito ay ginawang bilog na tauhan ni San Jose. Ngayon ay titingnan natin kung ito ay perspektibo ng isang lalaki o ama, manggagawa at makapangyarihan na tao. And that's all. Thank you.
What the Rich Think of the Masses by Emmanuel Torres. Good day, everyone. My name is Jaya Sambukan from Bachelor of Physical Education. Early in Marcos' presidency, Marcos initiated ambitious public works project, war rehabilitation, and intensified tax collection, which brought the country economic prosperity throughout the 1970s. His administration was very successful in waking up the Filipinos, but because of the Philippine registration that was erupted and imponent, there were still circumstances where Filipinos experienced troubles and sufferings. We all know how visible poverty in the Philippines. This is an important matter to be faced by the Pope of the world, which showed mockery to the Catholic Church. It is amazing how Emmanuel Torres used sarcasm in the poem to show and narrate the suffering of the people decades ago. He also used sarcasm to describe how people in the high ranks had become unaware and apathetic of the things conditions of the poor. Emmanuel Torres clearly described and talked about what had happened decades ago, but it is to read this today and apply what it says to what we experience now. It is still appropriate for the situation of the Philippines. Poverty is still prevalent, and the situation in the Philippines has not changed at all. The poems of Emmanuel Torres talk about a time during the Marcos regime when the Pope came for a visit. Squatter areas were white-walled, possibility in order to make an impression on the Pope. He saw right through it. However, the insisted on meeting of family from area. The poem reflects the more realistic angle of the story of mockery on the church.
And that would be all the report of Group 8.